My dad popped out from behind a bush with this bear rug over him and proceeded to chase the screaming kids, and they ran screaming and terrified. The girls were all crying, and one of them even peed her pants. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Youth Group Chronicles. Joining me here for the second time on the show,
let's party,
Pastor Cody Spencer.
Here we are.
Good to have you, man. That was a fun episode, the first one we did.
I feel like I'm family now.
Yeah, I guess we could call you family. Maybe not family, but almost.
I'm like a long-lost cousin. Getting to know him.
You know what's fun is you've obviously been in youth ministry for a while, so these spark some memories, jog the memory a little bit.
Dude, I'm like not good at remembering stories until I'm in the moment.
Neither am I.
It's so annoying.
When I was creating this podcast and, kind of formulating the idea, I was like, I've been in youth ministry, but I don't have any stories. I guess we'll have to go find them. And just like you, I start reading some and I start remembering, and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of this. There's been a few times where I'm just like, I'm glad I remember that because that was a funny freaking story.
Dude, we've laughed way too much.
Yes.
Way too much.
Mm-hmm. And it just happened. So hopefully, the goal of the show, and I've said this a couple times, the goal of the show is not to slam youth ministries at all. We're Christians having fun here. This is to highlight the funny, and some of it's a little dark, not gonna lie.
Dude, some things are just cringe.
Some things are cringe, yep.
Dark humor is good though. I don't mind it sometimes.
But it is important for youth ministers and people in youth ministry to realize, hey, you're not alone. And there are some youth groups that have it worse than you do. I guarantee it.
Yes, thank God. Yeah. In a sense, thank God it wasn't me.
Yes, and every week, some weeks are a little bit more mild than others when we're reading stories, but I'll read a wild story and think there can't be something worse than what I just heard.
Oh, there's something worse.
Oh, there's something worse. Yes.
Always.
I don't know if this is that week. We'll find out. But we have some email submissions. If you're listening to the podcast for the first time, you are welcome to send us some of your crazy stories from youth ministry. You don't have to be a youth pastor. You can be someone that attends youth group. And you could say, hey, this happened. This was wild. Or you could be a volunteer, a chaperone, whoever it might be. We would love to feature you on the show. All right. So email submissions here. Marcy P said, we have a youth group student who is very accident prone.
Okay.
Last year during our back to school bash at church, he was playing in the dunk tank and somehow got his fingertip sliced off falling in the tank.
What? I
don't know how that happened, but that's horrible.
What? How many knuckles down?
The tip of the finger, so maybe half inch.
Shoo.
That still would hurt. Oh, that makes me cringe. So she says there's more. She said this year on the first night of our revival, he's playing outside. And mind you, they have a country church out in the woods, and he finds a snake. This accident-prone kid starts to mess around with it and ends up getting bitten by this snake.
No.
He screams. The kids panic. The kids tell the adults in the church. The adults also panic, thinking it's a rattlesnake. And the man in our church whips out his belt to make a tourniquet on the boy's leg to start sucking out the venom. Like a total survival man. And then a deacon grabbed the snake just in time to see that it's non-poisonous and it was just a chicken snake. So they sent the boy to the hospital anyway to get him checked out. The boy is fine. He comes back to the revival for the second night with his family. But before the second night service, he hurts his arm playing basketball, and he's taken to the hospital where they discover he fractured his arm. This is all in a week, it seems like.
Dude, this kid has the worst luck.
The third night of revival, as my husband and I were walking to the church, we see an actual rattlesnake by the church steps. And guess who opens the door and proceeds to walk down the steps, oblivious to our yelling at the rattlesnake below him. Luckily, my husband, who's a youth pastor, grabs a stick, moves the snake away just before the boy steps on it. Needless to say, he was supervised by an adult for the rest of the revival services.
It's almost better for you to be actually, you know what? You guys should find a different church.
Yeah.
It's actually, we really love you, and you should find a different...
Don't say our church name on this, because we don't want this kid at our church.
Yeah, you should actually go to a different church. It's that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Just count it a loss at that point.
That kid, needs, a leash.
Literally, yes.
I'm so against people having a leash on a child, but that kid needs a leash. A leash and a youth leader.
Yes, 100%.
At all times on the property.
Michaela G wrote in and said, every year my dad would serve as a youth leader for a 4th grade middle school camp. Now, when I was in high school...
Bad choice already.
Yeah, I got to come along and help lead worship one year. The game we play every year is that all the kids, they look forward to it, is called Counselor Hunt. At our campground up in the Rocky Mountains, every counselor would go hide in the woods at night, and the team of the kids who found the most counselor would win a ton of points. Now, my dad is like a country guy, big hunter, and he thought it would be funny to bring his giant bear rug to camp, which had the head of the bear. It had the claws of the bear, like the whole 9 yards. And he made a plan to scare his group of male campers who were probably older, right? And what he didn't know was there was a group of 4th grade and 5th grade middle school girls following his boys group.
Let's do it.
So my dad popped out from behind a bush with this bear rug over him and proceeded to chase the screaming kids through, I guess this would be the dark at this point. And they ran screaming and terrified. The girls were all crying, and one of them even peed her pants.
All the cool kids pee their pants.
The children's director absolutely chewed my dad out, and he felt so bad. Surprisingly, he still got invited back next year.
Dude, those are the moments though where like, actually, you know what? This will be kind of funny. I'll scare him a little bit, and then it's like you're in the moment, and it's like,
well, he didn't realize it was a group of girls. Life. He thought he was scaring a group of boys, which probably still would have been scared.
Dude, 4th and 5th grade boys probably screamed worse than the girls.
Honestly, and I bet the screams sound the same.
They
probably haven't hit puberty yet, so he had no idea. It's dark. Oh my goodness.
Dude, that would be terrifying though. Literally,
Absolutely
that would
terrifying.
be terrifying. Like, that's what
I would be scared.
That's what we were talking about on the last episode. Is like, that happened, but it was a real bear at the camp that you guys were running, and those kids were freaking out like they were gonna get mauled.
Literally.
Dude, do you remember that camp? We had this girl show up, and she was like kind of new, and she was like different. We'll say that she was different. And she was like obsessive with me. And my wife was like, I'm gonna punch her in her face.
I do remember this.
We woke up in the morning, and me and my wife stayed in like a different cabin than everybody else. And like we had I think it was just Sophia back then with us. And dude, we woke up and she was like standing on the porch of the cabin, like staring inside. I was like, you gotta go talk to her. That is so freaking creepy. Like, what's creepier?
I remember this now.
A dad in a bear rug, or this girl like stalking you guys.
Weren't her parents obsessed with you too?
No, her mom was just more different.
Yes.
Than her. It was just such an odd situation.
Yeah, this wasn't even like anywhere remotely close, same age, like 18-year-old girl obsessed with you. This was like what, a 12, 13-year-old?
She was like
just weird.
Maybe like 15, but it was like,
oh my
hey,
goodness.
you need to talk to one of the female leaders. She's like, no, I want to talk to you. And like, no, we don't do that here.
Alan says, I remember this.
Dude, it was bad.
Sierra's like, oof. They were all there.
It was all weird, and everyone was like, we'll talk to you. And like, we thought we were gonna have to like chain her to a tree in the woods, and like, you're being weird, dude. Like, you gotta stop.
You need to slow down here.
You gotta go away. This is getting weird.
I am scrolling back. Jamie asked, I may have missed, but how do I share a story? Jamie, if you're still on the live, you can email them to ygchronicles@gmail.com. We'd love to feature your show. Yeah, Alan and Sierra, I remember that story as well. That was something. I remember being very weirded out for you. I do remember that girl.
It was so creepy and weird, and it's like, what do you like?
What do you do?
You have to stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do? Call her mom? Who's
weird.
Even more strange?
Someone said, where's the purity patrol when you need them?
For real. Dude, but no, like, my wife, like, I'm surprised she didn't, like, body this little girl.
Your wife would do something like that.
Oh, she would.
Come near my man like this.
Yeah, it's like, dude, listen, little girl. You're going to go back to your cabin, or you're going to get bopped. It's as clear as that.
Get the point across.
We're working on Grace with Melinda.
It's okay. She'll be okay.
She's getting there.
KCO wrote in and said, for our summer Wednesday night program, we were covering the subject of sin. The children. Good topic. Yes. The children's pastor I work for had the idea where you blend cockroaches in ice cream as an object lesson.
No, why animals again? Someone call PETA.
Cockroaches would represent sin, and the ice cream represents good works.
Okay.
So we start off by making a milkshake and asked the kids what they liked in the milkshake. So they said peanut butter, chocolate chips, Hershey. You got me hungry right now, man. All good works. Now, then we added the roach. And I'm talking one of those fat Madagascar hissing roaches. That's nasty, man. The kids went bonkers.
Good
and
protein
we lost yeah, I bet. We lost complete control.
Oh yeah.
Some of the girls got up, ran out to the back room. A few of our teachers did the same. We blended the roach in the milkshake. Oh, yeah. And then we asked the kids if they wanted to sip.
Someone did. Guaranteed.
We'll find out. Then we offered to add more of the good stuff to see if it would taste better. All the kids were like weeping at this point. It was absolute chaos. They tied the lesson together with explaining the need of Jesus to get to heaven. No matter how many good works we do in our life, ice cream and toppings, when we have sin, it's, we're stained by our sin, the blended cockroaches in the milkshake. Only Jesus is the way to be forgiven. I understand the lesson.
One of our kids would have eaten it.
Oh, yeah.
My mom always had the example of brownies. And she'd be like, I made these brownies. We all love brownies. You want brownies? And she'd like have someone to eat a brownie, and she'd look at him and she'd be like, would you be okay if I told you I put just one small scoop of poop in there? It's like, ew, dude. No one would be okay with that. She'd be like, it tasted fine, though. It looked fine. It smelled fine.
And then that kid is like, but did she really? She said she didn't. Really? But I'm always kind of like wondering now.
Did Cole tell the story of what he just did with a watermelon?
No, I need to know what happened.
Oh my gosh, bro. He's talking about like giving your life and how like some people have become martyrs and yada yada yada, like going through and like pretty intense like message on like surrender to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And I'm out of town, right? He brought a watermelon. It was talking about like martyrs, and he takes this watermelon above his head and like smashes it into the concrete floor. And he's like, I thought it was gonna show like the fact of like when you like surrender and like give you all of your life and it's like pour it out. And he's like,
no, it's like someone's head getting cut off.
Yes. But the watermelon exploded in like 100 directions, and kids were like covered in watermelon juice. He said, like, everyone starts dying laughing, and Isaiah, our worship leader, standing in the back, and Isaiah starts crying. And everyone's dying laughing, and Isaiah's like, no, y'all don't understand. He's like, this is someone's life.
Of course, he would literally find that moment.
It would be Isaiah crying as everyone's laughing. And like,
and then it's the opposite. Dude? Isaiah, I mean, everyone knows who Isaiah is at this point. He's been on the show numerous times. Isaiah also laughs when everyone else is crying.
Right. He's emotionally backwards. Pray for him.
Emotionally backwards.
We love him to death. Pray
He's
for
probably
him.
on this live, to be honest.
Probably. But dude, like, yeah, there's another example with an animal.
Yep.
Getting murdered.
Yeah, Sierra commented and said, yeah, what's up with youth pastors, blenders, and insects? Great question, Sierra.
I would say we've never crossed that line. We did one time. I don't know if anyone's ever, like, they've probably seen it, is we did a kids meal challenge from McDonald's. And you take everything from the kids meal and you get, like, a Pepsi with it. And you put it in the blender.
That's so gross.
Dude, it's disgusting. It's so gross. So gross.
Of course the kids drink it, though. I bet some.
I think one kid threw up. Like, we used to do Fear Factor every year. Mm-hmm. And the goal was to make people throw up. Like, that was the win. It was like, you guys terrorize us all year. You know what?
We're going to
get you back. And, dude, we had kids, like, eating, like, bull testicles. We did balut eggs one time. And you know what those are? So they are eggs that are, like, almost about to hatch. And then they take them out of the fertilization process. And they're a delicacy in like a lot of nations.
So like
there's
chicken?
like a wing with feathers inside this egg, and you like hard boil them, and it's still like hard boiled egg, but there's like a feathery wing in the middle of a hard boiled egg.
That's so nasty.
We had like kids eating that stuff. Like it was crazy.
That's so bad.
It was disgusting.
Oh, Alan is still on. He said Isaiah has also called a bunch of kids ugly during an altar call.
He did.
You guys are wild.
I guess
we're
absolutely wild. I guess we're a mess.
All right, so I have some youth ministry fails here. Scott B said, my biggest youth ministry fail was an honest to Jesus mistake. He said, it was our summer flyer of events, and one of the events was a movie night. The subline below it was Netflix and chill.
Stop.
Thanks to the students who were like, yeah, I don't think you know what that means.
No, that's bad.
I don't think he knew what it means.
He did not know what that means. That's why cultural relevance is super important. If you're a little bit older in youth ministry, keep rocking. Don't stop. But please get some young people around you.
There was another story. I don't know if this has come out yet. If we kind of mix up like the order of these. And basically, there was a person from another country that came to the United States and didn't understand our culture. And he wore a That's What She Said shirt on stage through the older person's worship and the youth worship. Had no idea what that even meant. It was just a shirt they found and found out later it's, the Office reference. But I'm just like, that's funny that even the Office didn't make it that far across the globe, apparently. But
dang.
Lewis W. said, this is my favorite cascading calamity from our youth ministry. We scheduled a 2-day retreat and we had it planned to the minute. After a full day of games, paintball, worship lessons, and a campfire, it was time for lights out. However, the group wanted to stay up and do free time. I was young and naive and relented. That turned into an all-nighter. Except I stuck to my guns and made everyone still do the relays and activities the following morning. I think we had 6 out of the 20 plus teens start vomiting from breakfast and overtiredness. Not to be deterred or listen to the wisdom of my wife or the pastor, we kept things going. Finally, during our afternoon worship session, we were all sitting down after worship and I was leading the devotional. As I was teaching, I fell asleep in the middle of my own sermon. After that, we decided to send everyone home.
He had to Paul himself. He fell out of his own window preaching.
Literally. How do you fall asleep while you're talking?
I don't even know. That's a good question.
That is
Dude,
wild.
what the heck?
Official Queen Dee Dee said, I need you all on my podcast. Hey, shoot us an email, ygchronicles@gmail.com. Maybe we could work something out. Sierra said, that's an amazing story. Yeah, I don't get it. How do you fall asleep during your own sermon?
That's
next
wild.
level right there.
We actually, now that these stories come out, we definitely have some fails. Definitely have some fails. Remember, so for conference, a couple years ago, we have summer interns and they're great and we love them.
Oh, no.
And we're rented our local arena for conference for a couple years in a row. And for whatever reason, these kids didn't drink water. I don't know what they were thinking.
Kids don't need water, that's why.
Yeah, and it's we're there all day. It's a lot of work. And obviously we're
8 a.m. to 10 p.m. probably, right? Maybe longer.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
And we were really intentional about not trying to overwork them because they're kids, Mm-hmm. We want them to still have a good time and have fun. But they ran themselves dead and then stood right in front of the subwoofers for the concert.
Oh my goodness.
And dude, one of them went into it's not shock. One of them started
like a
blacked
seizure
out.
sort of thing.
One of them had a seizure.
Oh my goodness.
Then Isaiah's wife, she also blacks out. We had 3 ambulances come to the arena in an hour's time span. People were commenting on Facebook what is going on at the arena? There's so many ambulances. There's these kids just
a youth conference.
These kids don't know how to drink water, bro. I don't know what they're doing. They're
literally. Oh my goodness.
It was terrible. So now we have a rule there's at least one leader over the interns all of conference.
The time. Yes.
And it's make sure they drink water every hour.
It's your only job.
Water and Gatorade. Literally, the next year, that was someone's job.
I remember that. I remember that conversation.
Gatorade, period.
Sierra says it was a seizure, apparently. That's funny. Not funny. It's terrible.
Congratulations, Sam.
Yeah, not funny. Looking back, funny situation.
It's drink water, dude.
Yeah. Juju Lily, not gonna lie, I keep listening in hopes I make the cut. If you emailed your story, if I send you an email back, that means you're in the queue, most likely. So we have honestly hundreds of stories just waiting to get featured, so it might take a little while, guys.
Group's been going on for a long
people
time.
have been really getting wind of this podcast and sending stuff in.
90s youth group?
90s youth group is a different breed.
That was the Wild Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get some stories from that.
I've had some. Insane.
That's when they were chugging sodas through dirty socks. And
it's nasty.
Wild Wild West.
Melanie W. said, my biggest youth ministry fail was when we missed our flight back from a mission trip and had to wait 3 days for a flight that was able to accommodate a group our size. 3 days is a long
That's a
time.
long time, especially at the end when
Oh,
everyone's
you're
like
gassed. Mission
mentally
trip.
checked out and gassed, and you just want to be home.
Yeah, you probably just built like a school or something in Haiti.
And then there's like one annoying kid who like loves every second of it, and you just want to like,
Guys, this is a character building moment.
you're like, is there just one seat?
We're gonna leave this
is
guy in
there
Haiti.
one seat on any flight that this kid can take, please?
Or me.
Yeah, please.
Okay, this is exactly why we do this podcast. Mama Deck Liz said, this is literally the best podcast because I don't feel so bad about my days in youth ministry. See?
Yes.
This is why we do this. This is to show you guys.
Dude, it's people.
Yeah,
And people are going to just do wild things on accident, and you look back and like,
You know, this was funny. There was a guest speaker at our church a little while ago, and he said, you know, the church is perfect. And then you add people.
it's true.
And I'm like, that is so true.
It's so true.
For this episode, that's all we got, but definitely tune in again. If you're listening to this on the podcast itself, check out the TikTok channel. We post content there all the time. We're posting video form of these conversations, which is even better because some people just have some great reactions, and who doesn't want to see us in, in person. And then on top of that, we have Instagram as well, YG Chronicles. But again, send in your stories, guys. And before we go, Pastor Cody, is there anything you want to like plug that you got going on for youth pastors or anything like that?
Yeah, dude. I would love to invite anybody to something that me and a couple friends started called the Equip Collective. Mm-hmm. It is look, we don't think that we know everything, but we do want to help out and bring some great content to youth ministry. I know most of the time in youth ministry, it's like, the kids like you and the pastor thinks you're cool, and they're like, hey, you want to help in youth group? And like you get a book thrown to you and like, you start next Wednesday, good luck, bud. And it's kind of terrifying. So our goal is to help youth pastors, youth leaders, and people grow and be equipped to lead this generation. We know that ministry itself, really like the lid is the leader. Like as much as you know and you can give out, it's as high as everybody else around you can go. So we host a once a month free call with some of the greatest leaders and youth ministry leaders and Gen Z thought leaders that we can find across the world. And we'd love to invite you guys to be a part of that. We offer some coaching as well, but that call is 100% free. And we'd love for people to be on it. The Equip Collective on Instagram, equipcollective.com for a website. But dude, it's been awesome. We had this guy on named Steven Robertson, and he's like a Gen Z expert that the NFL hired.
Wow.
Dude, mind-blowing. Like, mind-blowing. We had another call with a guy named Pastor Josh Carter. Like, all the youth pastors, like, literally just people are weeping on this call. Like, it was just incredible.
Josh Carter's a beast.
I love him so much. But we're just trying to help people go to the next level in ministry and in their leadership. And we'd love to invite anybody to be a part of it. My friends Cristiano Mendez, who helps a lot in the tech world, and like he's just phenomenal. He's a leader of leaders. And the other guy helping lead it is named Felipe Borges, and he helped launch something called Dunamis Movement in Brazil. And he had actually launched like hundreds of young adult small groups in colleges in like Latin America countries. Both great men of God, and we'd love to have anybody join for a call. Any information you're looking, equipcollective.com or the Equip Collective on Instagram. We'd love to just add a little value to your life.
Yeah, and it's free, just like you said.
Yeah,
so
it's
hop
free.
on. Nothing to lose. Well, awesome, man. This has been a blast.
Thanks for letting me be here again.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Anytime. So thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week.